Maze.
Welcome back to the next part of this Truth and Rhythm episode. Be sure to subscribe to this channel. If you've already done so, please share it with friends. Also become a member by joining Truth and Rhythm on Patreon, or consider donating at funkinstuff.net. Thank you so much for your interest and support. Enjoy.
Hey, everybody did such a great job setting the table to move over to Roame, the originator. And Roame, if you could, share with the folks, how you connected with Frankie Beverly way back when, and just a little bit of the band's history. I knew that it came from Raw Soul, but I didn't know there was something actually before that called the Butlers or something. So, yeah, if you could just bring us up to speed in a nutshell, how that all came together.
Okay, it's been an amazing journey, pardon the pun. I started out at a young age in church as well. My grandfather was a pastor, singing pastor, had a beautiful voice. So I was influenced by him. At 13, 14, my first cousin, John Whitehead of McFadden and Whitehead, we were in a group called the Epsilons. And we recorded one single. And from there, at 15, 16, I was influenced always with R&B music. Of course, being in a doo-wop group. I met a bass player. My brother went to a boarding school, and the bass player that was playing with Frank then told me, when I'm not in school, I play at this club downtown. Come check me out. So I did. And at that time, I was playing the flute because I was a jazz head and still am. And I sat in, and the flute wasn't really required for the music they were playing. And prior to then, they were the Butlers. I met them in 69. They were then the Butlers. It was more of a doo-wop group, 3 vocalists, front vocalists, and bass, guitar, drums. I met them then, and my name was Ronnie. They had a cat in the band, his name was Ronnie, and I knew inevitably they would call me Little Ronnie. I wasn't going for that. So at that time, I was back and forth from New York to Philly playing with cats I knew, playing the flute. A lot of it was congas, flute. So from there, I knew flute wasn't required in the music, but he said, is there anything else you can play? And my best friend, Khalil, God rest his soul, played congas, great percussionist. And I used to sit with him as he used to solo, and I used to keep a basic pattern. So I knew how to play the congas. So I said, yeah, man, I can play congas, and I sing. He said, well, we got vocalists, but yeah, man, I can use you playing congas. So it was love at first sight, just like the relationship Jubu and I, when we first met, Frank and I connected the same way. In fact, because I was playing the flute, he could have just said, oh man, thanks for sitting there and see it. But he said, man, again, he wanted me to stay because he asked me, was there anything else I could play? Not only that, we ended up living together for years and got really close. I mean, that was my boy. So from Butlers, it transitioned into Raw Soul, which then was a self-contained band. From Raw Soul, We were in Philly. We played all around clubs, and we ended up playing the last gig in Philly was with Isaac Hayes. We were heavily influenced by the sounds that was coming out of the Bay Area. Carlos Santana, Sly Stone, Tower of Power, self-contained bands. And we dug that. So we wanted to go where those cats were. And in that, we left Philly in 72. We also, in Philly, we traveled around in a bus, a Brill bus, and we converted it into a tour bus. So we would go around Philly in that bus. And when we decided to leave Philly in 72, there were cats, some roadies, Frank, his lady, our manager then, his name was Cannonball. He was also a DJ in Philly. They got in a bus and decided to go cross country in this tour bus. I wasn't going because I didn't want to take that trip. And I had never flown before, so it was my first flight. So I flew to Vegas. My brother was just out of the Army, so I stayed with him in Vegas until the cats got to the Bay. We had some gigs lined up, but they fell through when we got to the Bay. So for the prior to that, I can't exclude this. They broke down in a small rural town in Stewart, Iowa. The engine burned out and they needed a replacement or just getting it fixed. They were there for maybe 2 months. When they first got there, the adults, again, it was rural, there were no blacks in that town. They weren't having it. It was an all-black group, and they just weren't having it. Again, I mean, it's all over the, racist. Yeah, okay, cool. The kids protested. This was during the edge of the hippie era, so that was still in effect. People were still about love and peace and the music. So they rebelled. And those cats were there for 2 months until the engine was replaced. And at the end of that, when they were ready to leave, there were several people that went with them that lived in Stewart, Iowa. And they finished their journey. They got to the Bay Area where the gigs fell through. And for the first 2-3 years, maybe longer than that, first 2 years were just rough. We had it rough. We ended up homeless for a minute, a few of us. We lived around with different friends, fans, people that loved us, came to see us, and Frank and I and his lady ended up staying with a cat that lived in Fremont. Stayed with him. We just traveled around, stayed with different folks. I met a lady. We stayed with Frank and I, and his lady stayed with her. So it was rough. I used to call home to my mom. Listen, Mom, can you send me something? Because we had, at that time, no food. It's like potato chip dinners. Sometimes no dinners at all. It was really that bad. So we struggled. And then we started getting gigs. We hired a woman from San Francisco. She was a manager, and she got us some gigs in San Francisco, a particular club called The Scene. And we got a following, started, and there was one woman in particular, her name was Cass. Cass was the sister of Jan Gay, and Marvin Gaye was married to her at that time. So she used to come and check us out, and she said, I'm going to call Marvin and tell him about you cats, because you cats are just dynamite. Called him. Marvin came down and checked us out. He loved the band, but he hated the name Raw Soul. So he said, man, you cats are happening, but you got to get rid of that name. So we kicked around some names, back and forth. I said, what about Maze? And they said, yeah, that's cool. We kept going on with names. And at the end of the day, Maze stuck. Everybody loved it because At that particular time, from the doo-wop, the Butlers, to raw soul, the music changed. And when Frank started writing, in fact, he started writing at a young age, at 15. He was heavily influenced by Frankie Lyman, and his real name was Stanley, so he changed his name to Frankie because of Frankie Lyman. So, again, Marvin saw us, didn't like the name, came up with the name Maze, and he also knew the A&R, the president of Capitol Records, Larkin Arnold. So he told Larkin about us. Larkin came and saw us, and we signed with Capitol in '76. And first album, and we also recorded While I'm Alone is Raw Soul, that first single, and we put it on the first album as well. So '76 was the first album. I've been in the band for 55 years, and it's been an incredible journey. I mean, some of the best times of my life were when we had nothing. My most fun times that I can remember was a struggle, because in between that, we would have so many friends, because we were still hippies, and we were true about that. We didn't play with that. We really were about love and peace, and just, and the music. So after the album came out, we toured sometimes for 10, 11 months out of the year. This is during the Cool Fest, Bud Fest era. We closed the Essence Festival, headlined that for 10 years straight. So, and then recently, we decided in May, well, there's some different management changes, and Bear Williams eloquently described and let everybody know what that was about, so I won't have to get into that again. But
Roame, let me just jump in if I could. I appreciate that history, because I'm going to get a little more into the TMF beginnings. And
okay, yeah, I was just getting ready to say, with the incredible musicians, and you have some elite and just incredible musicians, so it was a no-brainer for us. The plan was to never break up. So in the transition, we decided to remain together, and we started out with the name The Maze Factor, and I always liked the letters, stood out to me. So I said, well, when we decided we couldn't use that, I just came up with the acronym, Music Forever. So everyone loved it and agreed, and we started the TMF journey, and we've done a few gigs, 2 gigs in Houston. We did a big gig in Atlanta, Chastain Park, with Anthony Hamilton. We dropped a single, which and we're just getting ready to continue the journey with TMF. And hopefully we're going to continue to tour. We're looking forward to the new year coming up. We have an album coming out in February. So it's just been incredible. My journey, as well as the beginning of the TMF journey. I'm loving the way we've been moving, and all of the support that we've gotten. And we've only been in existence, since May? And we've done quite a few things that, sometimes it would take artists years to do what we've done in such a short amount of time. So TMF is who we are and what we're about. And we're going to continue to do all that we can do to touch people and gain as many fans as we can, because again, the music is forever, and we're all about the music. And right now, we just want people to recognize and support us in our new journey.
Yeah, Roame, I appreciate that history, and I got to say, from back in the day, I mean, I was a fan following the group since the first record, and I was in school at the time. Always loved Maze and the music. But I mean, right from the get-go, Maze was a tight live unit. I mean, that's something that's been emphasized from the beginning, that one of the best live bands has always been Maze. And so the fact that that's been carried through all these decades and continues to today is just a tremendous legacy. Besides the great catalog of songs and all of the great vibes and joy and positivity that's represented by the music itself, is just the entity as a live unit, and so authentic today, carried through to TMF. And so that's what's just so fantastic from my point of view.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate that.
And I got to ask you though, Roame, can you describe for people at all what the vibe was like in the studio when you guys were creating that great music originally?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've always been close knit, again, with the former members, and even now with TMF. The most incredible thing that we've maintained throughout different groups and different cats coming in and out of this band is the chemistry. It's undeniable. What we have on stage, we have the same thing in the studio. I mean, once the song is established and everybody's in it and on it, it's just a magical time. On stage live and in the studio. And I think just along with the genuine love that we have and respect for each other, it comes out in the music. It's effortless. When we go in and we record as well as live, it's just a beautiful thing, especially when recording the single, which is the only thing we've recorded so far. How that came about, the blend, how easily it was for everybody to just get it. Just a magical time. I can't wait to get into the studio so we can finish the album, just to have that experience again. It's really special.
Thank you, Roame. Bear, can you, you put out that video describing, what went into the split and all that, and you did a great job. And I think it's so commendable the way all of you have just, faced that and communicated so well to the fans. So really applaud you for that, and
thank you. Thanks.
But what, I've been very impressed the way you've launched this whole thing. I mean, it's so professional, the shows. I mean, that first Atlanta show, I mean, you guys, you've been doing it forever with that, a set list, I'm sure. But what can you share with us that has gone into the launch of TMF as an entity, and what should fans expect to see moving forward into 2024?
Well, kind of like what Roame just said, what we've put into it is really a continuation of what we had as members of Maze, as longtime members of Maze. We basically took a lot of the same philosophy, a lot of the same passion, a lot of the same desire. And it's so funny, as you were talking, as I was listening to Roame talk, Chris is just as much a part of the DNA of Maze as anybody else here, because his story is intertwined. It's there. It's all there. He wasn't on stage with any of us, but he was there. You know what I'm saying? So now it just kind of became full circle. When we made this decision, we made it actually early on before we even decided to launch in May. This was just something that we would talk about in the dressing rooms. Hey man, if this train, we always talk about the train, pulling into the station. If this train ever pulls into the station, man, we're gonna keep doing what we're doing, and that was our mantra. So we always knew that whatever happened, we were going to continue on. And so, yeah, it's basically the same passion, the same professionalism, the same love of music, the same love of the fans to give them 110, 120 degrees of, percent of what we have to offer. And that's what went into, like what Roame said, that's what went into making love to the music. Chris's great song, he brought it to us, as a demo. And the first day he brought it, and he put it in the text chat, and we all listened to it. Everybody came back, whoa, that's us.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we all said. That is us. That is the essence of TMF right there. Mm-hmm. And we went in the studio, and like Roame said, everybody put their parts in. And so that's the thing. I can't keep going back around to it, but it's the passion, it's the professionalism, the pride, really, of going out and giving all we have to the fans, And so those are the things, and that's what the people can expect from us every single time we're out there.
Can I say something, Larry?
Sure. Mm-hmm.
It's love, man. It's love. Like I said, when I met Roame, first man I ever met with a hug, ever in my life, with a hug, man. It is love. When I tell you that when we're off stage, if we could, we probably would spend that time together. We go eat together.
Mm-hmm.
I love going to eat with Chris because Chris will pay for it. You know what I mean? But anyway, no, but it's love, man. When we're all older now. We're all older now, man, 50s and above. And you would think like, hey man, when we're done playing, I want to go get to my room. I want to go spend, my time and do, what I do. But hey man, even during the week, I'm always talking to Roame. I'm always talking to Calvin. It's really love, and the instrument is an extension of just who we are. So when we come together, it really is. I'm always calling Bear, hey man, we're gonna eat. If you haven't eaten, let's meet downstairs at blah, blah, blah time, And this is something that we don't have to do. We're all individuals. We all have our own families. But, I can say from my standpoint, I just love these guys. I love hanging out with them. So musically, it's effortlessly because we're all we're all dedicated to our individual instruments. So that's where the pride thing comes in with us. I'm not going to let Larry down. If Larry's over there getting down, I'm going to meet him there, So it's the pride thing. But more than that, man, we love each other. And you can't deny it. That even when we first started doing these shows with the new energy, and the people weren't embracing of that. And we understood why. We understand that, but they couldn't deny the love. So, midway through the shows, it's like, wow, this feels the same as it always has. It's the same great musicianship, but the love is there, and that's what permeates through the whole audience, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yep. You're absolutely right.
I think it's wonderful that. You guys are doing new music as well as the catalog. So that helps give you your own identity too, and especially since the last Studio Maze album, I think, was all the way back in '93. I'm not sure why there weren't new records after that.
Back to basics.
I can tell you why.
Why?
I had several talks with Mr. Beverly, and believe it or not, kind of like Prince, he had written a whole bunch of songs. He would always give me snippets of these songs, and I go to his room, and he's one song in particular he was saying to me all the time about I'm in the jam of my life. You know, it's about there's a woman here that he loves, but there's another woman over here that he loves. And he's trying to make a decision, and it's a cold-blooded record. And I said, Frank, why are we not putting out this music, man? We got enough music. He said, we already got 2 hours of a Dropkick show. If we do any more music, somebody's gonna be mad because we didn't do this song and we didn't do this song. And so what I figured out from Frankie and those guys coming from Philly, and like Roame said, they had it so rough that when Frank found the formula that changed their lives financially, he just wasn't going to tinker with it. They found the perfect set. I remember even when I got the call, he said, "Hey man, we're gonna fly you in. We're gonna rehearse for about 2 weeks, and then we're going on the road." And I said, "Mr. Beverly, with all due respect, I know the show. I know the show." We rehearsed for 3 days. We rehearsed. He had the studio set up for 2 weeks, SIR. We rehearsed for 3 days. On that 4th day, he brought in a bottle of what's that? Louis the 15th or
Right.
Louis the 14th, something like that.
Yeah, that cognac that's like $3,200.
Yeah.
And he brought it in and he said, "Man, Jubu knows the show. He's saving us a lot of money on rehearsal time. We're gonna celebrate. Yeah, we're gonna celebrate, drink up, you know." And man, if he didn't have me by then, he sure had me then, man. Because once again, it was the brotherhood that I thought that I would have gotten through with Tony. We were all closer in age, you know, and but I never loved that music. Even the music that I helped create, I never loved it more than Maze music. But what Frank told me out of his own mouth was that, yeah, we got a lot of songs, but he said, "Man, we got the best show that we can have, and those people don't want us to change it." And he said, "I'm not going to change it because it changed my life."
Mm-hmm. It's interesting you say that because just pivoting to a different, I listened to the great actor comedian Jim Carrey the other day, and he's talking about he's going to retire, and the interviewer said, "Are you serious?" He says, "Yeah, actually, I'm very serious about this." And the 3 things that he said after, it stuck with me, and it sounds exactly like what Frankie has done as far as the music. He says, "I have enough.
Yeah,
I've done enough. I am enough."
yeah.
Wow.
I was like, "Wow, bro! I guess
Wow.
that's pretty much what it's. You can't deny it.
Yeah.
That's heavy. That's heavy."
Interesting. Thank you for sharing that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go around, if I could, and ask all of y'all, what would be your top 1 or 2 favorite tracks out of the Maze catalog? I think fans would enjoy knowing that. So start with Calvin.
Oh, wow. Let's see. My favorite 2 probably would be, of course, I think everybody loves Before I Let Go is like, it's a staple. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, I love that song. That's probably one of my faves. And I think the other would be, there's something about While I'm Alone. I really love that song. So I think those 2 would probably be my faves. Before I Let Go, While I'm Alone.
All right. Chris, what about you?
For me, the message of "We Are One." That's certainly one of my favorites, and also I absolutely love "Joy and Pain." So those would be my top 2 for me personally.
Daniel, what about you?
Oh, because of the way it feels to me, it has a gospel thing to it to me. And I think "Thank You" is probably my top 2. It feels different than most of the songs we did. And then I also love now he's gonna want credit for this. I wasn't familiar with this particular piece until we just started bringing it up. But in recent months, Feel That You Feel is becoming a favorite of mine. Calvin is going to want credit for that because he presses it all the time. But that song is taking on a new light for me after we performed it in was it Houston? We did.
Yes.
Yeah.
And since then, it's taken on a different kind of love for me. So
yeah.
All
right, Roame, what are your two main jams?
Oh, I have several. I mean, We Are One, Happy Feelings, Before I Let Go. There's one that was on the first album, but we never played it live, called I Need You. Why am I drawing a blank? Golden Time of Day is one of my favorites.
Well, you picked five. I think we got to leave some for Bear and Jubu.
Like I said, I mean, you're talking about 12 albums of material. So
yeah, right? Yeah, nice. Jubu, what about you?
My introduction to Maze was Feel That You Feel. And the first time I heard Frankie's rhythm on that song, it hit me like a haymaker.
This is when he was playing rhythm guitar.
Yeah, it was a live record. Friend of mine that turned me on to Maze, his name is Eric Baker. He's the one that turned me on. I was 13 years old. And first time I heard Feel That You Feel, and I was like, wow, man, who are these cats, you know? And that would be my introduction, so that's why it's a favorite. But my all-time favorite Maze song is While I'm Alone.
Wow.
I love that song.
Yeah, While I'm Alone. The infusion of the guitar parts. The infusion of the guitar parts, man, and Frank told me that it was 3 parts that were overdubbed, and I tried to play all 3 of them, man, and you know, together. I really tried it. Those parts, along with the melody, the song is an amazing song to me.
That's the thing about Maze. You know, the signature of Maze is just really the keyboard and guitar. To me, has always been, you know, the way those interlock and carry out the melodies and grooves for Maze, especially not being a horn band. You know, so many of the R&B bands from back then had horn sections, and Maze and the Isley Brothers are two that come to mind, you know, that just kept it with the guitars and keys. Mm-hmm. Bear, what would be your jams?
That'd be Golden Time of Day and Lady of Magic for me.
Wow. Yeah, I love Lady of Magic too. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I got to share.
I mean, you can't just have one or two. It's a lot of great materials. Frank was a great writer. Nothing else.
Yeah, but that was his question, Roame. Let's just respect that.
well, actually, I'm gonna name my favorites, which you guys didn't mention. Southern Girl.
Okay.
Because I'm more of a funk guy. So working together. Happy Feelin', and then one track that's a little obscure, but I know it goes back to the Raw Soul days, is Colorblind.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is a hard track.
Yeah.
Yeah, lyrically, I Need You is cold-blooded too.
Oh yeah.
I Need You is a cold-blooded song, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Song. In fact, I'm hoping that TMF will be able to do that live. Great song. Yeah. And we're going to continue to play the Maze material and continue that legacy, but at some point in time, it's going to end up being a TMF set. You're going to hear more of the TMF material. You know, we'd like to introduce the TMF sound to the world.
How would you define the TMF sound? You know, somebody said, what is it you guys are doing?
I think it's a combination of just your own experiences and who you've played with, who you've been influenced by, uh, uh, what matters when we're together, the chemistry, again, the chemistry, the journey that we've all taken. I mean, it's just so many narratives, that come with this unit, and the fact that we are together when everyone could be doing their own thing. In fact, they do their own things with, and has always done, even with Maze. They have their own albums. They perform with different bands. Chris is toured with. I mean, he's always, when he's not with us, he's touring with everyone. I mean, yeah. So it's fortunate that we have the unit we have when they could be doing other things and working with other people that would commit them, but they've been loyal, always, always loyal. And that's been most of the bands that have come in and out through Maze. And now we've remained with the loyalist.
And if I may jump in, there's one thing I'd like to add. One of the things that makes these guys so unique and so special, like in the studio, for example, they've been together for so long, and with the love and the respect that they each have, it filters through the music. For example, Making Love to the Music, right? The song, the new single that we have. You don't have to tell Bear what to play. You don't have to tell Daniel and Vance chordal things, what to do. The respect is there. Jubu, he's going to find areas that where he knows what to put there. You don't have to tell any of these guys what to play or to stay out of the way, to respect each other's boundaries. It happens automatically. And you don't find that in most situations. You just don't. I mean, I've worked with a lot of musicians over the years, and a lot of times you have to tell them, can you play this? Give me this. With these guys, didn't have to do that at all. It's just like there's an automatic chemistry that doesn't happen in most situations. So that's the beauty for me. And I was sitting in the studio just blown away, like, man, these guys, they just get it. It's just there, So it makes it easy for me to sing. And it is
true. It's so true. That's very unique. That's very unique and special to have.
I call it an innate sensitivity that we have for the music. It's an innate sensitivity, man. And like Roame said earlier, when Chris brought the song to us, it was eerie, man. It was eerie. I was like, man, this is us. This is us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Well, we are, as far as elements are concerned, we just bring everything that's influenced. Like Roame said, we bring everything that's influenced us through the years. For instance, we're heavily gospel influenced. We're heavily soul influenced. We're heavily jazz influenced. We've got a rock edge to us, that you have yet to hear yet. You've yet to hear that, but it's there. Trust me. A lot of different things, a lot of R&B, of course. So it's a real, it's a real gumbo, if you will.
Yes.
That we're working with, and like you said, it flows out of us. It's not forced at all. Everybody just brings what they bring, right. And it just comes out like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Just talking again to that tremendous chemistry.
Yeah. Chris wrote the song with us in mind. He'll tell you that. So it just fit. It was just a great fit. And we love him for it. Love him for it. To be the first single.
Oh yeah.
Yes, brother.
Thank you, brother.
As you can tell, man, we're all men of faith, and I can say personally for me, that was the biggest plus for us when Chris decided to come on board, man. He's such a man of faith. He's such an honorable guy, man. It just, man, it's almost scary how seamless this has happened. You know, it really is. It's almost scary, man. I got to remind myself, you know, I think, you know, if we could get Calvin together, we can really.
Jubu, not right now.
Okay,
not right now.
Not right now. Not now. All right. All right. I'm sorry, brother. I tend to veer off a little bit. Y'all got to reel me back in.
Reel him back in. Reel him back in.
You know it wasn't gonna be long. I
was hoping we could get through it without a butter.
Here's a question for you guys, especially those of you that have been with the organization for several years. Is there one or two road experiences, performance experiences that just really stand out for whatever reason? Maybe it was just, you know, somebody came on stage with you, maybe it was a huge crowd, maybe the power went out, you know, whatever it might be. Maybe your bus broke down, you know, just something. A couple road
I got
stories.
a great one. Y'all remember when we did a private show for Magic Johnson's wife at the House of Blues in Los Angeles, and Whitney Houston and Bobby Brown came to the show, and Bobby had a few of them to drink, and he told Frank, "I want to come on stage with you, man. I know all the music, I know all the songs, man." So we were all in the dressing room together, and Bobby and Whitney left out the dressing room. I said, "Frank, with all due respect, man, you know this is your thing. I'm just your guitar player. But please don't do that. Bobby's been drinking." And so Frank said, "No, he seemed okay to me." You know, he said, "No." I said, "Yeah, Frank, I understand, you know, but I'm just telling you, I've been friends with him for a few years now, and I think it's a bad idea." Well, you know, we'll see. So Frank brings Bobby up on Before I Let Go, which is Magic and Cookie's favorite Maze song, right? So Frank gives Bobby the mic, and Bobby knows none of the lyrics. As he told him he did know the lyrics. And Frank tries to get the mic back from Bobby. Bobby ends up putting Frank in a headlock.
What?
Bobby puts Frank in a headlock, and Frank's like trying to keep his hat on while Bobby's got it, you know. And it wasn't like a physical altercation. Bobby was just in a good place, man. He was just really feeling great. And that's like the biggest memory, you know, for me. It was to the point to where Magic Johnson came up on stage after we finished the song, and he said, hey guys, I know you never did this before. He said, but that's me and Cookie's favorite song, man. Could you guys do that song again without Bobby this time? So we ended up playing the song all over again. That's one of my great Maze stories.
Without Bobby.
That's a great one.
Would be, the Live in New Orleans. The album that was recorded, that was my favorite.
Yeah, that was tight. Yeah, that's a classic for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Any other road memories want to throw out? Anybody?
No, I think Jubu topped it. I've got nothing after that.
Well, I have a TMF memory, although it's new.
Father's Day?
Actually, no, it was not Father's Day. Although that's a good one, but it was Houston, Jubu's solo on Golden Time of Day.
Oh wow!
Labor Day.
Yes, sir.
That one that one right. He took it to a whole nother level.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Oh yeah, I have seen that. It's like a 5-minute solo or something like that.
Yes,
that is hot. If you haven't seen that, you got to get on YouTube and check it out for sure.
Definitely.
What about other artists and influences? You know, if you had to pick like 2 or 3 desert island albums that are the most important to you that you just got to have, who might they be?
Yeah, for me, it would be,
Go ahead, Rum.
I'm still a jazz head, and one of my favorite artists is John Coltrane. I listen to, Miles Davis, some of the old traditional artists from the 50s and 60s. I was influenced by, of course, percussionist Mongo Santa Maria. And as far as pop, I love, so many different artists, the pop world. It's too many to mention, but
let me help you.
What's that?
I know what I'd have. Babylon by Bus, Bob Marley and the Wailers. Maze live in New Orleans would be my second. And my third album would be the Canton Spirituals live in Memphis 1. If I'm on a desert island, those are the 3 albums, and I'll make it through.
Yeah.
Oh, and I left out my all-time favorite R&B artist, James Brown.
Mm.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, man, on that note, I might have to cancel out Live in New Orleans I may have to cancel out Live in New Orleans for Live at the Apollo, James Brown. That would be, but Babylon by Bus and the Canton Spirituals live in Memphis 1, they're definitely coming with me. Then if you notice, I named all live albums.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Bear, what would be your top 2 or 3? I know you got some blues in there, right?
Oh boy. Yeah, it'd probably be oh man. Blues, not necessarily albums, but certainly singles. Things from Son House, Howling Wolf, Muddy Waters, of course, Elmore James, one of my huge influences. On another note, Larry Carlton's The Gift. You never heard that album. It's actually, I happen to be on it. It's just a plug, but it's a great album. It was the first album he did once he moved to Nashville, and I got a chance to be on that with him. It's just from start to finish, the music is just it's wonderful. It was a privilege to be a part of it. And then lastly, there's an Yvonne Lins. I'm a huge Brazilian music fan. And the guys probably didn't even know that. But anyway, Chris knows it. Chris knows it because we talked about it. But Yvonne Lins, there's a double album that he did, and I can't think of the exact name of it, but it's a double album live, and it's just chocked full of just beautiful stories and Brazilian melodies and rhythms. It's just a wonderful thing. So I could chill on a desert island with that for sure.
Wow, that's some great variety. Daniel, what about you if you have to pick 2 or 3 albums most important to you from other artists?
Well, I had to actually look to see what album was on. They've done it 4 times, but my favorite pianist is Russell Ferrante.
Mm-hmm.
They've done this. Mm-hmm. They've done this song 3 or 4 times. The original version is a song called Geraldine, and it's on their I had to find out on the spin out. I have to have that album. My producer hero, and we just started working on this new record, and the previous record is over 20 years old. There's a guy named Tommy Sims, and he did an album 20 years ago called Peace and Love. That album is a must-have in my life. I'm being particular to that Yellow Jackets record because that's my favorite song. But the entire Yellow Jackets catalog is one album.
Yeah.
Right.
One album. Yeah. And then I would say the album that kind of molded that I have to have because it's always was a study record for me was probably Bruce Hornsby's That's Just the Way It Is album.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Just the way he plays and treats that record is a direct impact on how I like to play. So like that's my study album, even though it's the easiest album to learn. It's the most, you got to understand the way it feels, the way the story is. It's just it's a very knowledge filled record to me, just because it's treated. So those three albums Bibles to me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's 35 Yellow Jackets album in that one album. So their entire catalog is a go-to. Yep.
Gotcha. Thank you. Chris, what about you?
Well, for me, I would have to say Ornette Coleman. There's a record called Virgin Beauty that I absolutely love. And I'm a huge fan, of course, having worked with him for a number of years also. But anything from the Winans catalog, I'll take it. And of course, Al Jarreau, Live in London. Anything from his catalog as well. So those would be my three for sure.
For sure.
Nice.
Oh, and I would be remiss if I didn't mention my favorite pianist other than Spoon, Keith Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and also one of my favorites is Oscar Peterson. He's
Yeah. I got to see Oscar play live in high school at Chicago State University.
Wow,
amazing.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Calvin, you get to bring this topic home.
Donnie McClurkin.
Watch out, Jubu.
Okay.
Man. No, man. I think like Jubu, because I think I have such a large background in quartet. I would have to say that live in Memphis, the Cat Spirituals one. That was
man.
That's probably one of the big quartet records. Geez. That one and like Daniel, I like the Yellow Jackets. I like the Live Wires record album. I think it was live. I like that album. And then I don't know, this might sound crazy, but to me it's almost like growing up in the 80s, Huey Lewis and the News. I know they were from out in the Bay Area, right, you?
Yes.
Those guys, man, all there. It's just like that whole catalog to me, almost like the way Daniel feels about the Yellow Jackets. I don't know, growing up, man, I was like I really loved Huey Lewis on the News, a lot of those records, man. I just thought that band was just like, man, these guys, the organ thing, I guess.
Yeah, they're on point.
Yes, Calvin, they rehearsed at my high school.
They did?
They rehearsed at my high school, man.
Wow.
Yes. When I first got to my school, they were renovating the football field and they renovated the auditorium. And they brought all this state-of-the-art stuff in there. And the first band to come in there and try that stuff out was Huey Lewis and the News, man. And it was right next door to the band room. And actually, they were probably the reason why I started cutting class, man, because I'd have to go over there and hear those guys. And they were so nice and so gracious. But the guitars, man.
Yes.
The distortions and just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm. They were musical.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, no, they were
those
great.
albums were very musical. They were just so musical to me, man. It just everything they played, it's just like, man, it's and Huey's voice, Huey Lewis, it was like, they were
for sure. For sure.
When I think of them, I think of, just incredible overachievers. They were like so kind of I don't know if not low profile, but they were just so kind of unassuming and just did their thing, and then they hit it so big,
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Unassuming is a great way to present that, because they were approachable. They were like some of the nicest people you'd ever want to meet, and they were reluctant stars.
Yep.
The coolest cats I've met was Grateful Dead.
Yes. And they rehearsed at our school too a couple of times. But Huey Lewis, they were a mainstay there. Yeah. But not to steal your thunder, guys.
Yeah, nice.
TMF going into 2024, we're going to look for, of course, the single to continue to get airplay and get attention and be successful and be performed live when you guys are on stage. But when do you think we might see an album? Will that be during 2024, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. First quarter of 2024.
Outstanding. And what kind of tour schedule do you anticipate for the new year?
We're working on it now. We have our manager and some agents that are working diligently to plot everything out and put everything together. We've had so many requests across the country and really UK and Europe as well, requests to come over. So it's it's a crapshoot as far as where we're going to be. But we're hoping to hit all the places that people are. They're literally every day. There's requests. Come here, please come here, please here. And so we want to hit all of those spots. We really do want to connect with people in a live way, which is where this band, like the Maze before us, this is where this band lives. It lives live. So.
And what's the website, or can people get on a mailing list, or how can they keep up?
Yeah, two ways. The website is tmfconcerts.com, tmfconcerts.com. If they want to just get on the mailing list, they can go to bands, also with an S, intown.com, and then just put in TMF, the music forever, and then it'll pop up, and then they can join the mailing list, and that'll let them know whenever we're playing live, any place at all. They won't get spammed. It'll just let them know when we're going to be somewhere, and they can purchase tickets.
And plus our social media handles as well.
Yes, exactly. Those are TMF the Soul Band, TMF the THE Soul Band, and they can hit us up at Facebook, Instagram, Thread, all of the ones. Everything except Twitter, I think. Yeah. So
or X now. Yeah.
Buy the single as well.
Yeah.
So that's available at any streaming service and so forth, right?
Yeah, all streaming services, all Apple Music, Amazon, everywhere, and it's available on our website homepage as well, tmfconcerts.com.
I wish you continued success with it, and just what New Year wishes do you have for folks?
Well,
Roame,
to thank everybody for being a part of the new and upcoming journey of TMF, and we'd like to wish everybody a great new year, and to look out for the band. Will be coming your way soon. And that's it. Big love from Roame.
Outstanding.
Indeed.
Well, you guys, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all the music you've given us and will continue to bring to us, and much love and respect, and thank you.
Thank you for having us, Scott. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes, Happy New Year.
Absolutely.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Truth in Rhythm. A big thank you goes out to our guest as well as to you, the viewer and listener. Also, much gratitude to Pleasure for supplying the show's funky opening and closing music. As a reminder, you can always access the complete list of linked shows by episode at funkandstuff.net. I urge you to support this program and receive the extra benefits along with that by subscribing to the Funk and Stuff channel on YouTube and sharing it with funk, R&B, and jazz lovers, joining Truth in Rhythm's membership program at Patreon, submitting a donation at funkandstuff.net, buying Everything is on the One, the First Guide to Funk book at Amazon, shopping at the Funky Things store for cool merchandise at funkandstuff.net, and linking through funkandstuff.net for all of your Amazon purchases. In addition, if you're an artist or anyone seeking proven, results-oriented professional marketing, PR, writing, or editing consultation or production, check out the media services section at funkandstuff.net. Also, I encourage you to drop me a line at scottg@funkandstuff.net. I love the feedback, suggestions, guest requests, appearance and sponsorship inquiries, and just talking about my favorite subject, groove-based music. For now, and as always, this is Scott Dr. GX Goldfine saying, keep on vibing to the rhythm of the one.
Mm-hmm.